Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's reading is going to be Your Love Life as a Bedtime Story. I've started this so many times. I've even had my bank manager calling me and telling me she was an Aries in the middle of it. It's quite difficult to read this, so you're going to have to, regardless of sex or gender, you may have to take the typical fairy tale role just to help me out of being a princess. I don't know what I'm doing. You've got three choices. You've got the yellow L, you've got the two cuboids, and you've got the rectangle here. So if you want to take your choice and see how it goes. Okay, pan number one. A long time ago, in a country far, far away, there lived a beautiful princess who was proud and everybody loved her. Her parents found her extremely difficult because when she wanted something, she really wanted something, and she would make sure that she got it. In a country not so far away, there lived a prince, and this prince had given up living slightly. He was very content, but that was just about it. Nothing else surfaced from his mind apart from milling around in his kingdom looking at his bushes. The princess, on the other hand, was quite feisty and decided that she wanted a little bit more out of life. And by chance one day there was a ball, and in this ball they locked eyes on each other. Oh my gosh. As their eyes met across the room, I hope the card to tell you why I'm actually saying these. As their eyes met across the room, they knew they were the right ones for each other. He galloped over to her and grabbed her. She loved his strength. She loved the fact that he had life in his loins. And they trotted around the dance floor, and everybody was jealous of them, the way that they looked at each other and the energy in their skips. Oh my good heavens. There was drinks abound, and they were guzzling from the feast and eating all night, and the princess thought she was in heaven. She was the centre of attention, and she was proud and she loved it. And the prince was content and looked lovingly across the table at his wild, wild partner and thought, this is it. I have made it. Afterwards, they separated, and they didn't go home in pumpkins. They went home the normal way. The princess decided that she wanted to meet him again, and she did everything possible she could do to make sure that they bumped into each other. She walked past his palace many times, trying to look through the windows. The king, on the other hand, was lost in sadness. He felt there was no way of getting close to the princess apart from just being his own laid-back self. But the princess was having none of this whatsoever. She decided she was going to get back that love and redo that jig that she had in the dance floor. That's what she wanted, and that's what she was going to get. Unfortunately, that get-together never quite got together again, and they just yearned for each other from a distance. The relationship ended, and they still felt as if they should be together. They dreamt of each other. They even tried to have clandestine get-togethers where he would try and sneak up her back passage. It's an old film. It's an old film where the prince crept up the side of the castle and into her boudoir. But still they couldn't get it to work. The relationship came to a standstill where it became slightly defensive. He decided that he wanted her to come and live in his kingdom, and she decided that she wanted him to go and live in her kingdom, but never the twain could meet. And so they decided just to basically have a bit of an impasse, which caused tears all round. The Queen took her crown off and decided that she was going to abdicate from her position because she felt that life wasn't worth living unless it had a bit of zest. He, on the other hand, continued to yearn quietly in his palace for the queen that he had lost. Okay. Pile number 1. That's what I'm getting for that one. I will tell you why I've got it. He's coming up, or she's coming up with the person as the world. You've got the Strength there, and you're meeting your first get together. The settings, the Three of Cups and the Chariot. You're both coming across here as the King of Cups, the Queen of Wands. So your Queen of Wands very much goes with the Strength card there. And the situation or the problem is the Death and the Lovers. So that to me possibly could be a get together, which you could have actually got together, but it's ended. And then you've got the Queen of Wands. You're still in the same frame of mind. You still want to keep it moving, but there is defensiveness and there's tears here. Okay, pile number 1. I'm going to leave you there with that one. See you again. Bye. A long time ago, in a far-off kingdom, there lived the most handsome prince. He was so proud of himself. He used to ride into town on his horse, looking like the bee's knees, chest puffed out, hair flowing behind him, trotting around, watching the ladies look at him. The princess had grown up with this prince and was not very impressed. While he was trotting around on his horse, looking like he owned the kingdom, she was off travelling. She had lots of different friends. She knew lots of different people, and she really experienced life. She had seen it all before. They lived together for many years in the same kingdom. They played happily together. She knew all his foibles. She knew that he had a huge ego, but she didn't mind because she loved him anyway. They would often play together, rolling around in streams and getting dirty and running through the chambers, and they were very, very close. As the pair of them grew up, the prince grew into a kind-hearted king. The princess, in the meanwhile, continued to travel. She was extremely full of life. She made sure that life happened. He, on the other hand, decided to relax a little bit, but he was kind and giving to all his minions in his kingdom. Now, life pulled them both apart. They both tried to nurture the relationship that felt so easy when they were young, but oftentimes they would only be able to do it through meditating and psychic contact. Oftentimes he would come to her in dreams, and she would still feel left out of that connection that she felt when she was young. Even though there were differences there, they both shared the same open and loving personality. All that they had to rely on as the relationship grew older was past memories and dreams. This was not enough for a lady with such a fiery nature. Even though the king was more relaxed, he himself as well felt like life should be lived. They both wanted to gallop off into the sunset together on their trusty steeds. It could never get started. There was such attraction there, but every time it started, it stopped again, and this left the princess very unhappy. When was she going to get the good times back? When were they going to play like they did when they were together? When were they going to just actually communicate rather than just do it in different realities? She was not happy. She wanted things to get moving. She wanted him to be more assertive. How can you be so laid back, she would say to him. How can you... How can you pay attention to so many different people at the same time? And he would say back to her, you're always off talking to everybody. You're always travelling. Sometimes I feel we're very similar, but sometimes our similarities pull us apart because we have such busy lives. We both have responsibilities and have to keep to those responsibilities. And as time grew on, even though their relationship was close, even though they knew they were meant to be together, they felt left out of the situation. They felt left out of their relationship. And she suffered. She suffered at home. She would cry. And she knew that the relationship needed to go two different ways. It either needed to get just started or just wrap up. Either way, she felt stuck in a rut with a connection that she knew was extremely strong. He wanted it. She wanted it. She wanted to get it moving. But all they did was give each other doggy biscuits to each other, and it never felt quite enough. She knew that the passion between them would never move, with him being so relaxed and with her being so self-contained at times. There was a stubborn streak in the pair of them. They both needed to get what they wanted. They were both busy in different sections of their life. She retracted and he loved her from afar, but still did jack shit about it. Oh, I'm going to finish there. I don't know if that made sense at all. I can tell you why I said these things. He or she, the other person, is coming across as the sun. You're coming across as the Wheel of Fortune. Makes me think of Jupiter, somebody that travels. The sun is somebody that's very grand in themselves, somebody who loves life. Both those cards fit really well together, similar personalities. At the beginning, in the setting, you've got the Four of Wands and the Six of Cups. So that makes me think that there's a really strong connection, possibly to do with an environment or something that's quite solid. So you possibly could know each other in the past or just had a good connection in the past. As you've grown, I'm guessing here from the childhood Six of Cups, they're coming across as the King of Cups, you're coming across as the Queen of Wands. There's a difference in how one acts and the other one feels more so. And then it basically comes to a bit of the Four of Swords, the Seven of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles, feeling left out. Feeling left out, feeling like you're not getting enough. And the end scenario is the World and the Ace of Wands, wanting to get it started and it keeps wrapping up. The Nine of Wands here is, I'm guessing, you in a state of defensiveness and upset at the same time. And there's always going to be passion between you. There's always going to be the connection there. You've got Psyche here and you have got the seventh house here. So it's a strong connection, a strong psychic connection, passionate connection. King of Cups isn't really sitting very well to me with this fire here. And as a result, you've actually contracted your energy in some way. Okay, pile number 2. Hope that explains it. Thank you for listening. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. This is really difficult. I'm just going to get started for you. A long time ago, in a far-off village, there lived a beautiful lady who owned the local pub. In that pub, she cooked meals that everybody loved. She was always very welcoming. Everybody came to sit by her hearth, and she was kind and gentle, and people far and wide knew of her generosity and her kindness and her gentleness. One day, into the local village came the dirty wanderer who was going on an adventure to slay dragons. Soon as they clapped eyes on each other, they knew that each other was the one for them. They were open, they were honest, and they declared their feelings straight away, and the passion took off. They were like two children skipping down the street. They continued communicating. They sent pigeons to each other with notes attached, and their love was declared openly and honestly very often. And then the relationship fizzled out as he went off on an adventure to slay that dragon. The problem was, he just became a little bit too detached. He was always busy doing what he wanted to do, going where he wanted to go and off on adventures. She was left with just a memory of him eating steak and kidney pie in her pub. Her heart was broken and he was just being very cool. His text turned to 3 or 4 words and it just didn't really click with her. She wasn't really having it at all. She felt there should be more if she was so giving and so kind, yet he was just passing through the village and kept on walking. She continued being motherly. She healed slowly. She didn't really know what she wanted. She tried to make contact with him, but all she got was trivialities, menial conversation. That was not going down very well with her. She had her own life to work with, so she put all her care into her family. She worked hard and eventually she tried to forget that wanderer. She knew she had other choices. And she knew he was slightly selfish. Good conversation, extremely open, but did she have the love to give him? Not yet. Not until he grew up would she be able to get closer to this wandering man or woman. Okay, I'm going to finish there. This is why I've said this. You're coming across here as the moon, which is a very gentle feeling. They're coming across here as the fool, which is somebody who's always overexcited trying to do something. You've got the 9th house of Mars up here, which has the feeling of wanting adventure, wanting to spread your wings wider, especially with the Fool here and Mars. Basically, they're going to do what they want. The initial contact is the Sun and the Ace of Swords, which to me is open and generous and revealing and spontaneous and direct. And then you've got, I'm guessing here, the 8 of Wands, what it develops into. The 8 of Wands is still communication, so possibly it could be online. The 10 of Swords down here, it just fizzles out or it stops immediately. Either way, it's not there. The 5 of Cups and the 3 of Swords is what you're left with, and that's heartache. And the King of Swords down here makes me think that the other person is just being very straight, and you're coming across as quite soft and wanting that much more. The Queen of Cups here has a feeling of somebody who is extremely loving with everybody else, gives a lot of themselves. This person with that Mars, that 9th house, the Fool and the King of Swords, isn't quite matching up to your generous spirit. And there's a feeling here of possibly healing, possibly distance. You're still almost wondering. There's a lot of wondering still going on from your side. But to be honest, if there was advice here for you, it'd be wait for them to give more. Okay, pile 3, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you.